Stay tuned and I'll show you how to make this healthy rabbit bone broth for your dogs. Alright, so we're going to get this bone broth started. So I have a regular size slow cooker here. So we're going to make a rabbit bone broth. So you ready for this? So when you're making your dog's bone broth, you also want to take care of using the best products possible. So we have some rabbit here that was humanely raised, no antibiotics, no hormones. That package was rabbit spine. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add rabbit feet. And when we're looking at bone broth, we're thinking about all those joints. Those joints of the animal is the good thing. And rabbit feet, don't worry, I'm going to strain all the rabbit fur off before feeding it to the decks and before actually portioning it off. But rabbit feet can also be used as a nice dog chew. So it looks like I'm going to have enough rabbit feet to go ahead and stick back into the freezer and store for a later chew. So I only needed one package and it was 10 feet. So 10 feet of rabbits, and then I had the rabbit spines. And I'm not sure exactly how many spines I had in there. But what I want to try to do is get this slow cooker filled with the bones pretty close to the top, maybe 3/4 of the way. Once your bones of choice are inside your slow cooker, then you're going to want to take filtered water and fill that to the top. So we're going to take our filtered water and just dump it in. Ooh, I should slow down. Just like I tell the monkey, slow down the monkey. And oh, everything's going high. There we go. So, it's a good thing I have a lid for this. So that was, this is a gallon, and it wasn't quite a full gallon. The next thing you want to do is you want to put in some apple cider vinegar, and I have organic raw apple cider vinegar, and this is 3 tablespoons. And what this is going to do is during the cooking process, it's going to help pull out all those good nutrients from the bones. It's going to pull out that collagen and gelatin, which is what we want. So we're going to just toss that in there. This is super easy, guys. When you're making your dog's bone broth, it doesn't just have to be the bones. You can put other things in it, other herbs, other foods. I actually have another video I will link up in the description below. So that's another way to add some great nutrients to your dog's diet. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get the lid and cover it. Place your lid on top to cover it. And looking at what's happening, this is the first time that I've ever done rabbit bone broth and the first time I've ever used fuzzy feet, is the feet seem to be light. So I think the next time I make this, what I'll probably do is put the feet on the bottom and the other bones down to hold it. You know, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Before I turn this on, I'm going to rotate. I'm going to put the feet on the bottom and the spines on the top to help keep those feet in the water. So see, when you're making recipes, it's a live and learn. You got to just try things. Okay, so now the spines are on top of the feet, which is helping push those feet down. So we're going to go ahead and put the lid on. And what we're going to do today is we're going to actually put this on high and work at getting this to a boil. And then once it comes to a boil, so I want to keep an eye on it, once it comes to a boil, then I'm going to go ahead and reduce the heat to low or simmer, depending on your slow cooker, and let that simmer anywhere between 8 to 72 hours. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put it on high, let it get going, put it on simmer. So right now it's just after 10 a.m. in the morning. So depending on how long it takes to boil, I will probably have this simmering overnight, and in the morning take a peek at it and see where we're at. So once again, high until it boils. Once it hits that boil, reduce down to simmer. 19 hours later, and I have healthy rabbit bone broth. Dexter has been going crazy all night. He was crying at my door because he wanted to come out because it smelled so good. Good to him, not so much to me. I will say it doesn't smell the best, but it's going to be nice and healthy for Dexter. For the slow cooker that I used, it did take about 2 hours before it reached a boil, and then once it hit the boil, then I went ahead and turned it down to the low simmer. I did have to top it off with water twice during my waking hours. And when I came out in the morning, it was fine. It was still up to the top, so that was really good. I let it cool. Once it was cool, I went ahead and pulled out all the bits. I also did a couple of things I wasn't expecting. So the rabbit feet, the fur did soak up like a sponge. So I did squeeze it, got the bone broth out of that. Also, our rabbit spines had a lot of meat on it. So I wasn't expecting to get a bonus, but I went ahead and removed all the good meat portion. And I ended up with quite a lot. So you'll have to stay tuned for another video, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this meat, although it's already cooked and he can eat it, even a non-raw fed dog can eat it because it's fully cooked. I did make sure that I removed all the bones, so there's no bones in here. We don't want to feed our dogs cooked bones. That's bad. Raw bones, good for most dogs. Cooked bones, no. So the next step is I'm going to take all this broth and I'm going to put it into various molds and then freeze it. Once it's completely frozen, I'm going to pop it out and I'll put it in another container and I'll label it rabbit bone broth. And back into the freezer it's going to go. And then when I go to feed Dexter the rabbit bone broth, I'll just pull out one of those cubes, I'll put it in the refrigerator and let it thaw. For Dexter's bone broth, I tend to use molds that are a bit larger rather than the tiny little ones, because I like to give them quite a bit. And once it's thawed, it'll last 3 days in the refrigerator. So one decent size mold is perfect for 3 days for Dexter. I think I've said before, when you're using silicone type molds that are flexible, it's always best to put them on a cookie sheet so that when you go to put it in the freezer, it's stable. So the next thing you'll do is you'll scoop your bone broth and pour it into your molds. And if I didn't say before, I obviously moved that bone broth that was in the slow cooker into these to allow it to fully cool. And then I'm just going to fill them all up, put them in the freezer. 24 hours, everything will be frozen, ready to go, ready to repackage. So we have success. So our molds froze up. And I have a little sample over here for Dexter so he can enjoy that this week. I will store these in Dexter's freezer, labeled with rabbit bone broth, and I will be rotating them throughout Dexter's meals. Dexter wants to give it a lick. Let's see. I obviously won't let him have the whole thing. He's like, oh, but please, Mom. He's like, how do I get the... So you can make little cubes if you want to give them little frozen cubes. You just want to make sure that it's not something they can choke on. I don't give Dexter frozen cubes by themselves. I'm always afraid he's going to try to swallow it and choke. But if you enjoyed this recipe, please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified of upcoming videos. And if you want to dive deeper into your dog's behavior, training, and care, check out my Patreon page. The link is below. Until next time, remember to pause and enjoy life. And we'll see you in the next video. Alright, Dexter. My fingers are frozen. Yeah.